Warning, rough market waters ahead for all financial markets. And what pisses me off, we got a meme here of the 2008 housing crash versus the 2022 housing crash and just how different it gets and how different it is. Be careful the advisors, friends, and advice that you keep. Many experts I have spoken to over the last 10 years, people that I've worked with, industry leaders, different people I've had on my team, or mentors, or people that were above me. They told me for years, and I would argue with them over and over again, that things have changed. The banks, they have changed their lending practices, and on and on and on. Apparently, people that can't afford a home now is not a crisis. And the next phase, where the whole market goes to the moon, then implodes, goes from an inflationary depression to a deflationary depression, where people have everything destroyed around them because of the Fed and the currency printing they have done, distorting the markets. Apparently, that's not a crisis either. Be careful. Be so careful. The advice and the people and information your subconscious accepts as real, as Bob Proctor would say. Make sure you are the gatekeeper from your conscious to your subconscious and what is accepted as reality. The problem is not in the housing sector, and this is what a lot of people didn't understand, and I am no expert. I'm not a financial advisor. The thing I study is history. I love history. I've loved political history, law, and in now the last 10 years has been monetary history. And the problem is not in the housing sector, and the problem actually never was in the housing sector. It's always and every time a credit and debt market problem. It's a bubble that's been blown by the Federal Reserve, and it's an everything bubble except probably gold and silver and Bitcoin. It's everything else has been blown into bubbles by the Federal Reserve. And it's them continually manipulating interest rates, manipulating markets. If someone is manipulating interest rates, that means there's no free market. If there's any manipulation in the goalpost moving, in the interest rates, which is the Fed all the time, anywhere, any place, that means we don't have free markets. That by definition is not a free market. So every dollar in existence is owed interest on it because it is debt. It's not backed by anything. So it's owed back. And that's the thing, the subtle switch that most people don't understand, because no one's taught that in school. Zero people are taught that in school. That's something learned outside of school in formal education. So that's the thing that people would say all the time. Brandon, well, that's not going to happen. We're not going to have a crash like last time in housing because of X, because they changed this, and because of Dodd-Frank or whatever garbage, government, jargon and theories that were put out. But that is exactly what they were missing. They were missing that it's not coming from the housing market per se. It wasn't that it was subprime. It was because the credit and debt markets, the derivative markets, were packaged and repackaged in ways that they all cascaded and dominoed on themselves. So it wasn't the fact that housing itself is risky. It was the derivatives that were built on top of each other by Lehman Brothers and all these banks. They created these packaged mortgages. They take 100 or 1,000 mortgages and package them into another mortgage or into another security and wrap faulty things or bad things or things that had a penchant for going bust. They wrapped them into more derivatives. So it was just this cascade, this trickle down of dominoes that were collapsing. And that, again, was the credit and debt markets, because what our mortgages, it's debt. And so that's why we had problems. And that's why we're going to have problems again, whether it's student loans, or credit bubbles, credit cards, you name it. Sovereign crisis, people not accepting our bonds and buying our bonds, or other countries' bonds. This is where the problems always emanate from. You have to look at the credit and debt markets, looking at the movements in the 10-year treasury and those things acting wildly. That is what is going on. At the end of the day, they're trying to wipe out the middle class. I know this does not want to be talked about. People do not want to talk about this. But how do you gain control and power? The elites want control and power. You have to wipe out the middle class. That's the Marxist-Leninist way to do things. We've talked about this over and over again on the blog, on our YouTube channel. This is what happens, and this is why when you wipe out the middle class, then you can get control easily. Then you have the 1% of 1%, the elites controlling everything, and then you have the poor. That's it. That is how, rule number one of the Communist Manifesto, abolish property. And that's the property of your money, owning your firearms, owning your land, owning anything. You'll rent everything. You'll be happy by 2030. You'll own nothing. Klaus Schwab, right from the World Economic Forum. You have to look at who these people idolize, who they write about, who they studied under, and it tells you, gives you the roadmap as to where we're going and how to position ourselves to profit and have freedom in the future. I know the guy in the picture above is actually Tim Bratz. And he's a big multifamily investor. So I don't know who made this meme. I can't take credit for making the meme. And it was just being passed around the internet. But it just goes to show it's a pattern interrupt to stop people in their tracks and say, whoa, 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 what's going on? He owns apartments. And again, he's probably going to be fine because he owns assets. And people need to live somewhere. When they're getting knocked out of their McMansions, when the credits are either going up in hyperinflation or they're coming down in deflation, well, people got to live somewhere, and they're going to live in apartments probably. However, the average person is dealing with an out-of-control government for decades, which is our own fault for putting in the people in place that have passed the Federal Reserve and the Fed, who are going to create even more violent swings, as this chart shows, as things progress. Again, our fault. We are the ones who have elected the leaders. We've the ones that elected the people that allowed the Fed to happen 100 years ago, and we are the ones that continue to this day to elect people that do not serve our best interests. And I'm going to zoom this in a little bit, actually. This is a gold chart 100 years ago in the German hyperinflation, in the Deutschmark, and in the Weimar Republic. And this shows the percentage swing. So you see the black line is the gold price in the marks, in the Weimar marks. And it looks smooth and just goes up. However, when you see the percentage change in gold price monthly, it looks kind of like the change in the Bitcoin chart right now, if some might say. So you see these wild swings from month to month, up and down, up and down, up and down. And finally, it eventually just goes up and up and up and up. But those changes all the way up are violently swinging each direction, down 10%, down 20%, down 30%, down 50% here. And they're going up 80%, 160% at the end, in doubling and tripling. So that is what is happening right now in our world. And those violent swings are going to become more pronounced as we move forward, as we print ourselves into oblivion. And this, like we said many times, this has happened through every empire. The 7 stages of empire, which we just posted about and talked about. I swear I didn't even plan on writing this and having these connect like this. Stealing money from the middle class and transferring it to the rich by printing currency every single time, debasing currency. We will have a two-class society if we don't rein this in. Bye-bye middle class. It's already happening through decreased savings, home ownership rates, an increasing wealth gap, etc. So again, here's the monthly mortgage rates just recently spiking, going through the roof. The people that are on variable rates, those are going through the roof because interest rates are rising. We're starting to get these wild swings in the debt markets. So again, pay attention to the debt markets. That is where trouble emanates from. This is what happened before the March 2020 crash and them coming in printing trillions of dollars. That was all because the repo market in September 2019 broke, and that froze, just like 10 years before that. So that froze. That means the Fed has to come in and start bailing people out. And these things happen in the background, really out of the eye. They don't talk about it on CNBC. They're not going to talk about it on the mainstream news. They're not going to talk about it on Snapchat stories. You're just not going to find this information unless you're looking for it. So again, this is not me. This is history speaking. This is a cry for help. This is the more that can be shown what is going on, I truly believe the better decisions we can start making and a better path we can lay out for ourselves and our posterity. This is what keeps me up at night for my children and their children's sake. Selfishly, real leaders, responsibility, and accountability inside of our own homes is the only answer. It creates a natural demand for better leaders that we vote for and represent us in government on the local and global stage. If we expect it of ourselves, then we naturally will expect it in those that are supposed to lead us. In my opinion, this is where there's obviously a massive breakdown in society. And again, we talked about this yesterday too. Intellectual laziness, apathy, and lack of confidence. When we don't have confidence in ourselves and we know we're not doing the right things, it's very hard to then hold other people accountable. I know I have a great difficulty doing that. If I'm not doing being a good, sound, moral, upstanding citizen, and I'm not doing the things that I know I need to do every day, doing my miracle morning and taking care of myself, reading the Bible, eating healthy, working out, and making sure Brandon is right, then I have a very hard time going and saying, hey, you go do what you need to do. Go do this, go do that. How are you not taking care of yourself? I have an unbelievably difficult time going and holding other people accountable. So it's very easy to see if I'm not holding others accountable, that means it's a reflection on me. I know you can know that Brandon's not holding himself accountable. But if I'm holding other people accountable and putting their feet to the fire, that means that Brandon's on his game. He's taking care of himself. And I would imagine, in my opinion, probably a lot of people are like that. So again, it starts at home, inside of our own family, in our own businesses. And that permeates and outside and spills over into the rest of the world. I am far from perfect, but I will be damned if I'm not going to try to be more accountable and responsible every day, taking care of the things that I can control and prepare for my spirit, my soul, my fitness, health, my sleep, rest, my family, my finances, my investments, my preparation, my decision making, my attitude, my independence, my relationships, my businesses, and on and on and on. What else can we take ownership of? Stay strong. We are going to win. Freedom will win at the end of the day. We know that. We know it to be true. Decentralization is taking over. More and more people are waking up. If you know someone that would like this content or maybe dislike it and you want to tick them off, then send this to them. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share the blog, share the YouTube channel, and subscribe, please. The more we can get the word out, I know we can change this for our posterity, for our children, and reset the course, reset the path that we're on, because we can all feel it. We all know what's going on. We can all feel what's going on. And if again, the videos that are popping up, go check those out, which we've talked about a lot of these things, other videos that we've made, other blog posts that we've made about communism, the tenets, and where we're going, where we're headed, and Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. We have many videos and blog posts going through our portfolio as well, how we're positioned to weather the storm and what's coming and be independent. And again, the last thing here is food storage, water filtration, and energy, things like that. And just like an airplane, we have to put our mask on first before helping others. We have to take care of ourselves, because if we're gone, if we're incapacitated, can't help anybody. So I use my Patriot Supply. This is not an affiliate link. This is just a link to the 4-week emergency supply that will take care of 2 people for up to 2 weeks, basically, 2,000 calories a day. So another resource where you can go if you get 1 or 2 of those, couple of those bins for a couple $100, $200 to $500 you're spending, and you're good for a couple weeks. You're good for a month of food storage. That way, 25-year shelf life, you can have that and know, hey, when the shelves are going bare, and the energy shortage and the food shortage we're going to have going forward, which these things cascade too. The energy shortages and the price increases lead to food shortages and cascade and domino down. We can know that, hey, if more and more of us are prepared, the more we can go help other people and be less of a strain on the system. So I appreciate so much your time and your energy. It's the most important asset we have. Really look forward to seeing you on the next one. And please, again, like and subscribe to the blog and the YouTube channel. If you're getting something out of it, please share it with someone that might enjoy it or you think needs to hear it. We'll see you on the next one.